Good evening, folks. Freddy Vazquez, Big Pop.
Freddy.
Good evening, folks. It's Freddy Vazquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, nepotism is political corruption. Let's discuss some more nepotism, follow up on yesterday's podcast, and how it impacts the city. Good evening, folks. Good evening, I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Happy Monday night. How you doing, folks? It was an exciting day, right? I mean, for me, for people who were protesting today, it was an exciting day. I was over at Roxbury and Central Park Avenue, where a group of residents, along with Councilman Anthony Moranti, protested the eventual opening up of a Chick-fil-A, which many people were upset at them. They were like, yo, we want some Chick-fil-A, right? And I get it. And the people that, were upset like Chick-fil-A, as I do, but they also don't really live in the area, so they don't really understand it, all the way. And I get why the people are protesting, and Roxbury is a very small street. So, I understand it. I love the chicken. I do. I love it. But anyway, folks, I want to talk about nepotism today, not chicken, tonight. Yesterday, I spoke a little bit, or was it the day before yesterday? I spoke a little bit about, nepotism and the impacts that it has on the city of Yonkers, right? And the residents here, right? The economic impact, the impact to our safety, as I spoke about the, death of C.J. Hackett, 16-year-old, who was hit by a drunk driver who was later identified as Stephen Nolan, a DPW worker, someone who has ties to the city, long ties. His dad was a retired detective here in the city of Yonkers. And coincidentally, the detective currently investigating the hit and run, his father also was a retired Yonkers police officer. And so, that brings into question, the ethical, any ethics or any chance of, what's the word I'm looking for, any bias towards Stephen Dolan, right? And any favoritism and stuff like that, because people are saying he's been getting, special treatment, preferred treatment. His bail was not raised. His attorney entered a not guilty plea, which, many question why would he do that when it's obvious that he did do it. He took off. He tried to fix the car. He went about his day, the next few days as if nothing had happened, right? And many wondered, who did he speak with? Who did he communicate with prior to being arrested? And that has to do with nepotism. And that presents a safety hazard to us, the community, the residents. When individuals feel invincible, and they can do whatever they want and they will get away with it, they present a danger to the public. Yesterday, I spoke about nepotism and its impact on the city of Yonkers and residents. I started out by giving the definition of nepotism. And I wanted to do that because nepotism is not just family. And people just, many times associate nepotism with family, but it's not. Right? Definition of nepotism, which by definition applies to both family and friends, And in Yonkers, most everyone knows about the Family and Friends Network, right? We all know about it. Nepotism, interestingly enough, just a side note, comes from the Italian word for nephew. And I thought of you, Steve Squig, Italian nephew of Mayor Spano. While many understand that nepotism isn't a good thing, what most don't know is that nepotism, along with bribery and extortion, is a form of political corruption. And therefore, we must fight to end nepotism that exists here in Yonkers now. We have to. Right? We have to. Nepotism does not allow for decisions to be made in an ethical and fair manner. It creates unfair competition. That includes employment, legislating, and managing the city of Yonkers. right? And they, this nepotism allows for individuals to be appointed or be supported as a candidate for office, and oftentimes they'll win. And the decision making, that they have is not one that's in the best interest of the people, because at the end of the day, they now have a loyalty to the person or people that got them in there, the powers that be, right? According to Markula Center for Applied Ethics, nepotism is often at work when political parties recruit candidates for public office, and it undermines the common good. While nepotism results in putting family and friends into positions because they are often loyal and trustworthy, right? Those are good traits, right? We think at face value, they seem like good qualities. Many times that's usually where it ends. And sure, they may be loyal and trustworthy, but to who? The person who's responsible for their success, not the constituents. And that's the problem. That's the problem, right? And unfortunately, that's the reality here in the city of Yonkers. Individuals are appointed and or endorsed for office based on their ability to be loyal, as not to betray the administration, and also to be able to be trustworthy. So that person can be trusted with information that could be damaging to the administration. It could be illegal, right? And so that's, again, where problems with ethics comes into play. These individuals are often not qualified and lack the competence to be effective, resulting in decisions made, whether knowingly or unknowingly, that negatively impact the residents of Yonkers. And for example, and I hope that I don't have any, problems tomorrow and moving forward when I mention this example, all right? The wife of City Clerk Vincent Spano, the younger brother of Mayor Spano, is the executive director of the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency. She is, in a sense, or she is the mayor's sister-in-law, Jamie McGill Spano. Again, she is the executive director of the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency. How many people know what the YIDA is? Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, or what their role is in all of the buildings that are going up, right? Well, for starters, they are in the real estate brokerage business. That's right. The YIDA is in the real estate brokerage business. They buy and flip or buy and flop properties. And let me explain. The YIDA will buy properties, whether from private owners or from the city itself, and then sell it to another investor or developer, attaching tax breaks to it, and at times below market value. Right. Along with the deal, that they sell, they may attach tax breaks such as mortgage recording tax and property tax. Imagine you can buy a property many times below market value and also get all kinds of tax breaks on it, right? You don't have to pay your mortgage tax, or you get a tax break on it, your mortgage recording tax, or your property taxes. You get a reduced amount that you pay every year. The YIDA gives out what are commonly known as pilots, or payment in lieu of taxes. Rather than pay, let's say, $3 million in property taxes, they'll pay $900,000 a year for 10 to 15 years because the city deems them as necessary to be here in the city, important for the overall, I guess, well-being of the city, right? So they'll help them out by giving them these tax breaks, helping them get city properties that have been sold. Yonkers was on a fire sale. I mean, I don't know if they have any properties left besides the schools. And John Rubo even suggested to the superintendent, Dr. Casada, that what if it was a good idea, or would it be a good idea to sell off the schools and then rent them? Dr. Casada said he didn't think it'd be a good idea. He'd have to consult with people, but he didn't think it would be a good idea. So what degree does the mayor's sister-in-law have, or qualifications, experience, and or skills to have this $130,000 plus a year job? Some say a no-show job. None, because it's all nepotism. Nepotism. It's basically a control mechanism in order for the Spanos, led by Nick Spano, to conduct real estate transactions here in Yonkers with investors he has business relationships with, in order to facilitate such deals as and I'll give you an example, the property at 470 Nepperhan Avenue, a transaction that involved many family and friends network members. That's what I call them, family and friends network members. And I just want to bring up some documents here that I shared. And I'm not sure if some of you may have gotten a chance to go over it, but I'll share it anyway, so we can go over it together and we can take a look at what I'm referring to. Well, this is actually Main Street. And I'll get into 55 Main Street where Zupa is. Anybody go there to go eat? Anyone? Now, 470 Nepperhan Avenue is owned currently by a company called CNNA Realty. The investor is well connected to the city of Yonkers. His last name is Jalaj, and his son was recently appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals, his 20-something-year-old son. CCNA Realty. Now, you can see here below, let's see if I, Party 2, Yonkers City of Industrial Development Agencies, Yonkers Industrial Development Agency. Party 1, CCNA. The city of Yonkers itself, however, owned the building at one point, but decided, I guess, they wanted to sell it. And so that's what they did. The original person that bought it was Joe Carter. That's the guy buying up all the properties that are having movie studios built on them. He bought the old Leak and Watts property for $50-something million. That was announced recently, or maybe a month or so ago. He's buying up a lot of Warburton and Woolworth to put movie studios there. And Joe Carter owns the land where the movie studio Lionsgate is currently by the train station and the iPark, part of that downtown area. The guy does a lot, although there's a lot of complaints with his developments, specifically the residentials. But I guess Joe Carter didn't want the property anymore after buying it from the city. So the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency stepped in and bought the property from Mr. Joe Carter. And they then sold it. And you see here, City of Yonkers, iPark. Party 1 is the seller. Party 2 is the buyer. So they bought it from Joe Carter. And then they sold it to this Jalaj guy. But why did the city keep it? I mean, they have the fire department in there. They have other city agencies and, departments in there renting now. Renting. When they once owned it. And so now you have this investor making the money. And who's the one signing this stuff? Wilson Kimball. Wilson Kimball. And I'll get into her in a second here. This is the value of the land and stuff at 2021, the year 2021, tax year. 10 million, 10.5, 10.5. And so these are a lot of the transactions that have been happening here in the city of Yonkers. And only a select few individuals are in the know. They're being sold city property so they can do their developments, or they can make money off rent rolls, while the city taxpayers fund all that, fund the rent roll, right? Why not keep the building? Why sell it to rent it out? And the individual's name is, I can't even pronounce the first name, but the last name is Jalaj. Sometime last year, his son was appointed to the zoning board by the city council, of course, at the direction of Mike Spano, the administration. That's right. 13 Culver Street is one of those properties. That's right. You know, I got a phone call from an attorney about that. Adrian Gonzalez, I got a call from the people who bought it. They didn't like me talking about it. So Mr. Jalaj was one of the individuals that replaced unexpectedly, unannounced, replaced some of the senior-most members of the zoning board, one of them including a man named Jeffrey Landsman, who had given 30 plus years of his life in order to volunteer on the zoning board. However, he wasn't a person that could be bought. He wasn't a part of the family and friends network. And so Wilson Kimball, the woman that you saw signature there, got him removed without even notifying him. He found out when he was watching a city council meeting and they were announcing this man's son as a newly appointed member of the zoning board. He found it to be strange because he didn't think there were any positions open. Who are they replacing? And he eventually realized it was him. He did get a letter 3 months later saying his services were no longer needed, but he got removed because he would not approve certain zoning law changes. You hear that, FBI? Now you know who to go talk to. He would not approve 44 Hudson Terrace, that big, ugly building that's going to be behind the YMCA that looks like someone said a stack of Wonder Bread, slices of Wonder Bread. Right? So this transaction for 470 Neperhan had a bunch of members of the family and friends tied to it, from the mayor via the city, YIDA, Wilson Kimball, Nick Spano, and the well-known realty company CCNA. And Nick Spano is the realtor. He's the real estate agent on these transactions many times, representing both the seller and the buyer, banging them on both ends of the stick or the candle, whatever, making lots of money. He was the one that was involved in that deal for Leak and Watts with Joe Cotter. Again, representing both the buyer and the seller, getting double the commission. That deal was in the works way before we heard about it. In fact, the employees were told maybe a year or so before because they were having to go look for a new job now. But the zoning laws did not allow for the movie studios that Joe Cotter wants to build there. So why would he go and spend $53 million? Does he know that they will be changed? He has to. He has to. And they will. Now that they got rid of honest individuals from the zoning board, replacing them with 20-something-year-old kids who are also real estate agents whose father are real estate investors buying city property through the YIDA. By the way, that young man who also is listed as having a job with City Hall, making over $20-some thousand a year, but it's a no-show job because he's never there. So why are we, the taxpayers, giving him over $20-some thousand a year? That's what we need to be asking. Family and Friends Network. Nepotism. Again, it's family. Jamie McGill Spano, executive director of the YIDA, sister-in-law to the mayor, the wife of the city clerk, Vincent Spano, Wilson Kimball, another member of the Family and Friends Network, whose husband is James Kavanaugh, the president of the YIDA, the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, who is also a partner in lobbying, a lobbyist with Empire Strategic Planning, Nick Spano's lobbying firm. Wilson Kimball was once investigated along with James Kavanaugh while they were working over at the Battery Park Authority. They were investigated for corruption, misappropriation of funds. They were using Battery Park Authority money for an apartment that they bought. They called it a love's nest because at the time they were not married. They were having an affair, but then they would get married, come here to Yonkers, and involve themselves in the corruption here. James Kavanaugh is a longtime Nick Spano associate from his days up at the Senate. He worked as a communications guy. And so that's how long their relationship goes. Now, 55 Main Street. Let's look at 55 Main Street. That's interesting because I hear that the taxpayers saved the business that's there. That's where Zupta is located. That's the social and political elites hangout where they go eat. What about Vinny himself? Leisure Suit Vinny would be answering phones and taking bets from some Park Hill Ave bookie if he hadn't been born into prominent political family. He gets a city clerk at over $190,000 a year. Yeah, well, it was listed at actually technically $183,000 a year in the most recent 2021. But he may be at 190 now in 2022. I'm not sure if that come out. Has it come out? Maybe it has come out. Have to take a look at that. That's the employee salaries, which you can go online and check out. Right. What experience, qualifications, skill sets did Vinny Spano have for the job as city clerk? He was appointed by the city council members. Why? Because Mike Spano told him to do so. That's why. He does the least amount of work there out of the three. Actually, you know what? Excuse me. The third clerk, whoever that is, does the least amount of work because I don't even see that person. Mike Ramadelli, who's the second deputy clerk or the deputy whatever city clerk, he does most of the work. He's the one that, stepped in and, calmed everything down and got Tasha Diaz to stop yelling at constituents. And Vinny Spano, I hear from sources that are emailing me about him that he's not at work, really. He's never really at City Hall. He also gets a city car. That's gas, car payments, maintenance, insurance that the taxpayers fund. You got an entire family just about being funded by us. That's right. An entire family being funded by us, guys. Hello? Did any one of you ever sign papers to adopt a Spano? Not me. How much taxpayer money are they putting in their pocket? Unqualified, yet they are progressing economically, financially, faster and better than most people. Doesn't matter if you got a degree. Doesn't matter if you're an Esquire. Because Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, ultimately your boss, your handler, has a GED. He tells you what to do. And you're the Esquire. How you like that? How you like them apples? Think about that. And that's what I was trying to tell you, Lakeisha. You don't want to listen to me. Illegal deed transfer into unlicensed realty using in Albany or other state form corruption is illegal, which in fact by not being licensed makes it irregular and illegal because if anyone else tries to use the word realty to conduct business, must be licensed. If not, it's breaking the law in this loophole used by many. Well, I'm going to post all the documents. You guys sort through them and help me out here. Help me out here. 13 Culver Street is one of those properties. That's right. Really quick. That property was listed for sale, but not anyone could just buy it because they were keeping it just for those who are connected. That property belonged to someone who had passed away. Remember, I spoke about this. And so there was no one there to pay the taxes. So then it got a tax lien. And then they waited. And then there was no one there to pay. So the tax lien put the house up for sale. But not everyone knew about the sale. They're supposed to be made aware. It's supposed to be a public auction. But it's not. And so certain individuals who are connected purchased a home for $2,500. A home that was worth $500,000, even in the condition that it was in. My man right here, a Hispanic, wanted to buy it. They literally chased him away because it wasn't going to be sold to him. They had to put the sign up. They have to make it look like they're doing the right thing. but you're not supposed to call. The same thing happened to me when I wanted to buy a house on Prescott. They would not get back to me, and eventually they stopped picking up my call. But someone bought the house. I'm a Hispanic. 2 Hispanic males looking to invest, better themselves financially, could not, because they were restricted, they were limited, they were stopped, they were stalled from doing so. They were preventing from having the same opportunities that other individuals have. And then those same individuals will look at us Hispanics and say, well, you guys are lazy. You guys don't do nothing. Meanwhile, they set us up for failure. Right? And that's not okay. And that's the economic impact that it has on the city that causes inequality, income inequality. When you limit people, a certain group, from getting these jobs from the city that are paying 100,000 plus and giving good benefits and pensions, then you create a group of individuals that remain impoverished, unable to grow or progress economically, financially, unlike certain other individuals who are not even qualified to do so. But because they are family and friends, nepotism will see to it that they succeed, even if they have subpar qualifications, experience, intellect, and everything else. That's how it is. And that's unfortunate here. But other people will get saved by the city to the tune of $1 million plus, as in the case of 55 Main Street and Zupa. I hear this business was going to go under. It wasn't doing too well. The rent that they had there was just too high. So what did the administration do? They went and purchased the master lease and lowered the rent for them. Same as AMS did for John Rubo, councilman out the 4th District. And these are benefits that most of us will not get. If your business is going down, screw you. Deal with it. And some of us actually get purposely attacked. They try and hurt our business. I am a victim of it. They purposely kept parents from enrolling their children in my daycare by telling them there was no more spaces available with any of their vendors. This is after I told them we had plenty of space. So 55 Main Street, Zupa. The mayor administration spent taxpayer money, over $1 million, to purchase the master lease just to lower their rent so that they can remain in business. And now it has become the social and political hangout. So they encourage people to go there and give it business. Do your events there. You want to be seen? You ain't nobody if you don't eat there. It's the who's who with subpar food. It's just my opinion. But if you go there, you might see the mayor. You might see Vinny Spano. You might see Henry D. John Balaj and others. You might see Elena Carmen Gomez Goldberg. You know, the who's who. Not us peasants. 1995, Party 1, Goldane Corp. Sold it to the Yonkers Downtown Waterfront Development Corp. 2016, the Yonkers Downtown Development Corp. Sold it to Marquesa Realty for 1.3, it says here. But it's confusing. $8,900? Is that what the Yonkers Downtown Waterfront Development Corp. bought it for? I don't think so. Goldane got paid. And again, this is Wilson Kimball here, signing for and on behalf of the Yonkers Downtown Waterfront Development Corporation. She signed for 470 Nepperhan as the YIDA. Now she is the chair of the zoning board, as well as the president of Municipal Housing Authority. Remember, this woman was investigated by the New York State Inspector General. Her and her husband. Why you never see Mike Spano or any Spano signing these documents? Think about that. Never. These are the people they throw under the bus. Anyone know who Deborah Ardino is? They also put a marijuana dispensary above Zupa, which sources have told me is owned by the Spanos and has been there for at least 5+ years now. But you can only get marijuana if you have a medical marijuana card. At this point, they may get their wish for another term. It just may be a different location, like Club Fed. They are being exposed and should really take their ill-gotten gains and run. Pride goeth before the fall. Pride goeth before the, goeth before the fall. Pride goeth before the fall. Well, we're going to come even harder, Carolyn. Yeah, I've told you and many others how much I love my family and my wife and my kids, and you know what they've did. And so now, here I am, exposing them. But we're not done yet, and we are just getting started. The nepotism here in the city of Yonkers, which is political corruption, must end. It is the reason why they didn't consider the people on Central Park Avenue and Roxbury when they were locating the Chick-fil-A. They don't care about you. And not that we don't want a Chick-fil-A, we do. They just want it in a location that's better suited for the traffic that it will generate. Like the Thruway rest stop. Just past the tolls right there by Stu Leonard's and Home Depot. But Michael Sabatino, another Spano puppet and family and friend member, fought against having it there because he said that the owners of Chick-fil-A were anti-gay, anti-LGBTQ. Yet, I have not heard one peep from Michael Sabatino, the Director of Constituent Services, in regards to this Chick-fil-A that's coming here in Yonkers, in his hometown. Does he not have a problem with that location? They're still anti-LGBTQ, according to Michael Sabatino. They have not changed their stance. They believe in traditional family. That's why they close on Sundays, because they want families to be at home cooking dinner and sitting together rather than going out to eat. And so Michael Sabatino fought the one at the Thruway, which would have been a better location. And so here we are. And he says nothing about this one. That just goes to show that he's full of crap too when it comes to LGBTQ. So he will move on with his $120,000 a year job where he's working long enough to get his pension so he can then retire so us taxpayers could feed him and his husband, Robert Voorhees, for the rest of their lives for having done absolutely nothing for the people of the city of Yonkers. They have not earned it, nor do they deserve it, yet we have to pay it. And that bothers me. And it should bother you. A-Spanos listed on the city's website, 1.1 million. And that's just the ones probably with the Spano last name. We have the list of all of the Spanos, whether they have the last name or not. It's just a matter of putting it together, which I need help on. Supposed to do that, start working on it this weekend. But it's a long list. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. And so we must end this nepotism because it impacts the city economically in the amount of money that family members take home. How many families here in the city of Yonkers have 5, 6 individuals just from that one family working for the city? How many? Right? You just have these same individuals that go to these galas and give themselves awards. They take turns giving each other awards. They're not anywhere in the community doing anything for anybody, yet they're giving themselves awards for community service and whatever else they think that they've done. You could give them an award for breathing. As long as there will be a photo opportunity, they will accept it. And then put it on their page, because most people don't realize that the organization or the people, whatever, giving it to them, are not really some big organization. They're some individual from the city that started a nonprofit, cost them, maybe $600, if not less. And they drew up these little award certificates and they invited them. And they said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to come because I can take a photo app. Then I can post that, and people who don't know will think, wow, this organization awarded this guy and this girl because they're so amazing. That's why I don't accept. I say I don't need the awards. No disrespect. I'm here to do a work. I'm here to do the job, get things done. Keep the accolades. You could keep them. I appreciate them, but keep them. I'm here to get the work done. When the work is done and the results that I am and many others are looking for are achieved, then we can sing praises to all of us, because that's what it will take to get this done. Not just me. Definitely not the people that are in office now. And so we must come out and vote. It's an absolute must. Democrats, you must come out in June. It is the administration that we have now that are the cause of many of the issues all you folks have, in one way or another. Whether it's 16-year-old CJ Hackett being killed, whether it's Detective Sergeant Frank Galdino being killed, people being fired from their jobs for retaliation, people applying to city jobs and waiting and waiting and waiting and not getting the job. That all starts at the top, the administration. They are in control of everything. Our schools, school board of trustees, many administrators, department heads, commissioners. And they help facilitate this system of nepotism that at this point has become horrendous, disgusting, and it needs to end. It needs to end. Look at our city. Look at our city. What improvements have been made? What improvements have been made? Our city is in dire need of so much. Building tall buildings does not improve a damn thing. It does not. Board members being thrown off because they don't vote the way they want them to. Absolutely. It's exactly what I'm saying. That's a problem. So when you have individuals that are appointed to these boards because of nepotism, they're going to vote exactly how the administration wants them to every single time. And if you don't, you will be thrown off the board. You will be removed without even being notified. You don't even get that respect. And that's how it is. Get with it or get lost. And so we must come out and vote for change. Otherwise, this will never end. We will continue to see injustices carried out. People will continue to wait for a job. Yonkers will become more crowded. You folks over there on the northeast side by Central and Roxbury, just wait. The Chick-fil-A isn't the only thing you should be concerned with if you're concerned with congestion and traffic. There's a lot that's yet to be done that are in the works. We just don't know about it. They don't even give us the respect of putting those planning board meeting signs up. And that is why Anthony Moranti is having another meeting, or they even doing another meeting on Wednesday for the Chick-fil-A location because of the lack of sign. They didn't put the sign up. And then when they did, they put it on Roxbury Street, facing the street. So unless you're coming down Roxbury, you're not going to see it. So most people are not going to see it. And you'd be hard pressed to see one of those signs, and the day has yet to come. Because I truly believe that they were putting them up after the meeting already happened until I started saying something about it. Because it hasn't been till recently that I've actually seen one or two now where the date has yet to come. They don't want you at those meetings. They don't want you to know what's going on, not until it's too late and you can't do nothing about it, but move. That's it. You don't like it? Move. You don't want to smell chicken? Move. You don't want the rodents coming from the Chick-fil-A? Move. You're scared your kids are going to get hit by cars now? Move. That's what my cousin Erwin Vazquez told me when I said we need to improve our schools. He said, schools are great. You need to just move. The Puerto Rican committee wants to trade Erwin Vazquez to the Italians for whoever you guys want to give us. Who else? Who else? Who else is on this nepotism? How many of these council members have family members that have jobs? John Rubo, his brother. Who else, John Rubo? Who else? Corazon Pineda Isaac, her mom and sister. Who else? Tasha Diaz, her daughter, stepdaughter, or whatever. She's just waiting for the police academy to open up, to begin so she can go right in, from what I'm hearing. In the meantime, she could wait over at parking authority and get paid there. What qualifications does she have? How many people did she skip? What about Lakeisha? She can't wait to get off that city council president's bench and get into the judge's bench. So let's keep making noise. And what about her husband? The man who doesn't have a trivial job like many people who work at supermarkets. He's a correction officer, and he's taking one of the hardest tests in correction officer history. And he passed. But it's not a pass-fail test, right? And now he may become a YPD because, yes, he took the test and he passed. That's what she said. So if it happens, it's not because I introduced legislation to allow Mike Spano to continue his dominance here in the city of Yonkers. No, it had nothing to do with that. Not at all. When did he take the test? And what's his score? Who else? Allegedly, John Rubo's brother has health issues and needed the job for health insurance. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why that's true. Because Dr. Rabadi, the man that makes a lot of money as the doctor for the Yonkers public schools, will pass people who are in poor health just to allow them to get the job. That's right. Dr. Rabadi will do that. And he has. People with heart conditions. Shit, they can die on the job the next day after being hired. Doesn't matter. Got to do us the favor. Forge the documents. Lie. Say he's in good health. It's happened. You know who. You know who. John Rubo. Lie about his health condition so he can get the job and get health insurance that we, the taxpayers, pay. You should be outraged. You should be calling for his resignation. What about the mayor's driver that made over $1.3 million? $1.3 million to drive the mayor around. Wow. Then retired. Then I hear he's hoping the mayor wins again so he can come back, do another 4 years, and then retire again. That's what I was told. And he's got so much steam with the mayor that he was able to get his brother, a convicted felon, rehired by DPW after he committed an armed robbery while working for DPW. And how many of you are waiting for a job with DPW? I think you might have to commit a crime if you want the job. How you guys over at A&V Pizza doing? How's the wife? It's messed up that she got hit in the head with a gun. A lieutenant's brother. Wow. And they want to try and hurt my business. Wow. Bellamy's husband took the test and got an 85. Well, he better not get the test over someone that I know who got a higher score than that, who was in the military, who was a sergeant in the military, and is waiting. And he's white. Doesn't matter. Like I said, it's not about color. Right? It's not really about color. Yes, they put one by me when they put one by me by Wayland Place. We don't want it's for. We don't know what it's for. I'm sorry. What was that say? I'm talking about the blue sign like on Central. Yeah, they put them up. That's to let you know that there's a planning board meeting. If for the public, they're supposed to do that, but they don't really want people there, so they haven't been putting up the signs in the appropriate time. Right? You see them, and other people have said this. They look at the sign; it's already past the day. But I've been talking about it, and recently I've seen one or two now. The one that's on Chick-fil-A location, but the only reason they put that sign up is because they didn't put one up, and Moranti and the residents said something about it. So then they put it up, but you still can't see it. They got it in a way where it's hard to see because they don't want people going. This is not okay, folks. And all you new people moving into the city of Yonkers, you're in for some real shocking stuff, okay? That's going to affect you guys too negatively, excuse me. So you guys better come out to vote here. You just moved here because I've met some people. I just had an Uber driver moved here a year and a half ago from Brooklyn. BK, you guys better come out and vote and know what's going on in your city because you guys, right, are going to be here and you're going to be impacted as well. Yonkers, let me introduce you to Yonkers. It's one of the most corrupt cities in the country. The nepotism, which is political corruption here, is ridiculous. People are elected to office that would probably not be elected to, student council. But somehow they became councilman, councilwoman, city council president, and even mayor. What are we going to do? Unbelievable. The contracted shrinks will make sure there's room for Mr. Bellamy in the YPD. Believe that. Yeah. And what he means by that is that when they want to get someone on that's from the family and friends network, right, they will have someone who's next, right, who's going to be the last cut, that's the last person. He's going to be hired. He has to fail one of the tests, and it's usually the psych test, right? So that way he can be knocked off and then they could allow for their family and friend member to make it. That's how it goes. So for anybody out there that ever didn't make it onto the police force because of the psychological evaluation, maybe you ought to look into that. See who went into that class that year. And that's probably, if they're connected, someone here in politics, then they probably took your spot. Just saying. That's how it goes. Don't forget Tasha's daughter. I pray she's not like her mother in her temper. We don't want someone like Tasha with access to a gun. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's that daughter, one of the daughters, but I know there was order of protections and placed on both of them. I think Tasha's daughter placed the order of protection on her and she placed the order of protection on her daughter. That's what I'm hearing, but they cover this up, folks. They won't give you the FOIA request. They won't. They don't care. They do whatever they want. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And I'm speaking out because enough is enough. Like someone has to speak out. We have to come out and we have to fight this and we have to end this now. Too many people have been hurt and even killed because of this nepotism and this corruption here in the city of Yonkers. This is the year that we do it. And we cannot allow our, selves to be, I know some people are feeling like just defeated. We haven't heard nothing from this lawsuit on the term limits, which I told you folks, and I love you. I told you this with love. Family tells something to you guys and I keep it real. I wasn't really mad like I didn't want to talk to you guys. I was just upset that you guys didn't listen. I'm here to help you. I see this stuff. I'm like almost Nostradamus when it comes to it because I've seen this before. I know how these people think. And I was trying to help you, And so I wanted to say that we cannot just rely on that lawsuit and people feel defeated because we have not heard anything back. Is it going to work? Is it going to go, is Mayor Spano going to be stopped from running for office? And it doesn't look like it because we were supposed to hear something already. So now people are feeling defeated. And I don't want you to. I want you to have confidence that we can do this. But you have to come out and vote. And we have to really stick together. Some of us, not all, some of us have to come together and really strategize. There are a lot of people out there that want change. But if we don't come out and we're not confident enough to come out and be loud about it, be vocal about it, and vote, it's not going to happen. If we put that defeated energy out into the universe, it's not going to happen. I believe it. I believe it. And I'm sure there's some people laughing right now. But it wouldn't be the first time. Ultimately, I laugh in the end. I'm Freddy Vazquez, Basement Politics, folks. We must come out to vote. Do not feel defeated. Mike Spano could run. That's okay. Let him run. Like they said, you can choose someone else. So let's do that. Let's get behind one person. Let's not allow the votes to be split. You may like this person. You may like that person. But we have to get behind the right person. And we have to say to these other individuals, it's nothing personal. We love you and we support you. But we need to be successful this year. This is never going to end. It may not be Mike Spano, but it will be someone that is a family member, because nepotism will ultimately reign supreme here in Yonkers if we don't stop it. This is our opportunity. And so I'm sure that we will have a candidate in the race that we all can get behind and feel confident will get the job done. We need to vote. Make sure you filter out the noise because there's going to be a lot of it. The PD hires using band scoring, one tie, all tie in each group. The politicians can hire whoever they want, and they do. I have never been so eager for election to get here. Me either. You and I both. I'm excited. I am. Just wait. Everything comes when it's supposed to. Timing is everything in life. I've learned, and I was one of the most impatient people you probably will ever meet. But I've learned. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. And I believe it's going to happen. I believe it. I believe there will be a candidate that we all can get behind, that will be right for Yonkers, that will be strong enough, capable enough to be victorious come June and November. I'm Freddy Vazquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. Continue to watch, share the podcast, let people know. Got to come out and vote. We need a mayor that's going to be out there in the street. You know, like I envision the right guy, a woman, being someone that, you know, is out there in the community, right? Like talking to people every day. I'm this district one day, that district the other day. What are the people's needs? How do we improve the city without making it over congested, without increasing the cost to everyone? You know, how do we do that? How do we bring in jobs here and provide jobs outside of just city jobs? Because obviously everyone can't get a city job, even if we do it in a fair manner. So we need other industries that will, you know, pay a good living wage. Someone's going to go out to the street and say, hey, you know what? That's a state road, but I'm going to patch it up anyway, because I'll be damned if my people, my constituents, mess their car up on that. That's what we need. Got a business owner having an issue, people out in the front, building, tenants out there. If you're listening and you're watching, have people hanging out in front of your building. You need a man that's going to be out there himself and say, yo, dudes, come on. I mean, people here, they don't, but let's go and do something positive. You know, you guys looking for work. What do you need? How can I help you better your lives so you're not here all day? That's the mayor we need. One that actually works. I'm Freddy Vazquez. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. Anyone running in 3rd District, you know, they redistrict in a way to keep people from running. Raquel Ali wanted to run. But again, folks, remember this. You don't have to live in the district right now. You can run. You do have to move there if you win. So just consider that, or think about that. Think about that, because that might mean just moving across the street. And I know it's not just so easy to move. I get it. But where there's a will, there's a way. There's a chance. Got to go for it. Got to go for it. The YPD has not gone into the 85 scores on the last 4 hiring lists. This one will be no different, except for the Family and Friends Network. And how many other people have been hired with 85s that we just don't know about because of the Family and Friends Network, right? Like the dude that they bounced to the YFD in 2021, what's his name? Anthony something. I think he's a nephew of the mayor. They tried to get him in YPD, couldn't do it. So they got him into the YFD. And it sucks because there was some people that were supposed to be in that academy that got bumped out. That's messed up. And that's why we have to vote them out. All you folks, here's your time for revenge. How you get justice for CJ, how you get justice for Frank, Detective Sergeant Frank Goldino, you vote out this current administration. That will be the justice that they deserve, that we all deserve, because ultimately it is that administration's fault why they had happened what they had happened to them. That is my strong belief. My strong belief. Some of us are watching and waiting. Anthony Carragine, whatever. Yes, Steve's brother. Yep. Wash hands, wash hands, wash hands. Z, man. I don't know what that means, man. But thank you for commenting, I guess. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics. I'm up out of here. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. I love it. I love this city, man. I'm fighting hard for this city. Folks, I'm taking a huge risk. It is what it is. Come and get me. I am Freddy Vazquez. Filtered, where truth lives and corruption dies. Folks, I'm strongly passionate about these coming elections and creating change here in the city of Yonkers. We must come out and vote. We must be vocal. We must end this nepotism. We must create equality, true equality. BLM supporters, Yonkers NAACP, any person of color, there's no true equality as long as this administration is in place. So if you're talking about equality, then you got to come out and vote for an entirely new administration, because there is no equality here. I don't care how many BLM lines they'll let you draw on South Broadway. It's no equality. That's a fact.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vazquez.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were.
In another one, Mr. Rumo lied to me. And I don't vote for a person that lied to me. Thank you very much.
Freddy wins.
I want to end this quick because I'm greedy and I want some of the butter chicken. So thank you.
Letting Helen off easy.
Are we doing interviews right now?
Yes, I sent that text message yesterday if you had any questions for the candidates.
Yes, but I thought it was going to be like after we went through the agenda, we would then do interviews. But I'm okay. I don't have any questions. I know she's great. I think she'll be a great first deputy counsel.
Okay.
All right, item number 2.
Yeah, she's off the hot seat. We're going to put this item onto the agenda.
All right.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
Competence, ability, strength, fearlessness, courage, intelligence, and understanding of what the people want and need, social work skills, compassion, love. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics.
Freddy wins.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddy Vazquez.
Freddy wins.
No!